Welcome to Shingyo Temple. Today's sermon is about when the Buddha actually started doing the right practice. The previous sermon was talking about when the Buddha noticed the importance of the practice, right practice in his everyday life. My body and mind were fully recovered. I did not go back to the torturing style practice anymore. Instead, I began the best way to attain the final salvation. I started taking care of my body, mind, and consciousness through right actions in everyday life. Staying in the middle way and continuing the right actions became my practice to attain the final salvation. This statement is everything. This is his determination, his statement to do the right practice in everyday life to achieve the final salvation. Now you already know what is the right practice. The right practice is about seeing the situation, try to understand the situation, also act for the situations, reflect for your actions, just like the Buddha did. So if you actually do just like Buddha will do, then you actually do the right practice. The fundamentals of the right practice is the middle path. As a very basic principle, and you have a Four Noble Truths as an approach, logical approach. Then you have the Noble Eightfold Path as a guideline of your right practice. So you have everything. Now, you may think, so what should I do when I want to start right practice? Well, I usually recommend all the priests of the Shingyo Temple to do normalization of your life. Normalization is not about start doing the practice, but before doing the practice, you have to think about yourself, talk to yourself, who you are, what you really want to do, what kind of person you are, and observe your everyday life, because you have to know the reality of your everyday life. If you read a book about the Buddha and you just say, hey, you know what, Buddha did this one, so let's do it. But if the actions are not appropriate, reasonable for your everyday life, even the action was correct for the Buddha, but action will not be correct for you, and then you feel bad about it because you say, you know what, Buddha did it, I couldn't do it. But you are actually ignoring the reality of your everyday life. So if you ignore the everyday life, which is reality of your life, then you try to introduce something not appropriate for the life and you cannot make it, so you feel bad about it. You're actually creating a lot of karmas. Correct? You're creating sufferings. Don't do that. Right practice is to minimize and also possibly eliminate sufferings. Don't create it. So normalization is actually see the reality about yourself and about your life. Then based on that, you actually start optimizing your life. You're gradually changing your living environment to be appropriate for the right practice. Okay, for example, why not? You actually take care of your garden to make your garden more spiritual place. That is, optimization of your life. Sometimes I just go cut my hair. I feel like, oh, hey, good. I feel good. That kind of a tiny thing, but change your feelings, make you ready for the right practice is kind of important. Then, when you actually optimizing your life, then you actually start thinking about what will be the right practice for you. What will be the right actions for you? For me, the first I was thinking that how I can take rest. I stressed, but how I can release the stress to maintain my body and mind in the good shape. So I'm start thinking what kind of actions I need to first of all, release my stress, and also not to create stress, not to gain the stress. Also, I will think about how I can eat. If I'm drinking a lot, I simply say, drinking a lot. It may not be a right practice, so, I cannot stop drinking, but maybe I can reduce the quantity of the alcohol intakes. Let's say only weekend I will drink. That will change your life, correct? That also, make your body conditions much better, also the mind conditions much better. Also, I will start thinking about safe place. Where is my safe place for meditation? Meditation is important to purify your consciousness. That is a very critical component of the right practice. So I try to find a safe place. If I don't have it, I try to make it. The funny story, when I, 20 some years ago, when I start doing this seriously, Buddhist practice seriously, I just got a driver's license and I couldn't find a safe place. So I just put myself in a car, small car, and I meditated. It was really good. Not only, I feel really safe in the car, but also I can go anywhere I wish. So sometimes I go to the riverside, no one there. I hear the, sound of the river, then meditate in the small car. That was my first, safe place. But I could meditate pretty well. See, you are not going to really jump into, hey, let's do just like a Buddha did. You have to create appropriate environment. You have to understand the reality of your life. You have to understand the reality of yourself. Then you plan. Okay? You plan the right practice. Because if you can't continue the right practice, you will not achieve the final salvation. Persistence of the practice is very important. Even though you did the best possible practice today, but tomorrow you can't do it, doesn't make any sense. Today I did this much, and tomorrow I do a little bit more, but you just keep going until you achieve the final salvation. Don't give up until you achieve the final salvation. That is a key. That is a rule. Again, in order to do that, you have to have a reasonable plan of your practice, right? Appropriate plan, realistic plan. In order to make a realistic plan, you have to know your life. You have to know the realism of your life, and you have to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, how can you make a plan? Okay? So Buddha actually said, his body and mind are fully recovered. I'm ready to do the right practice. Okay, I take care of my body and mind, but pretty sure he did. He was thinking about himself. He was thinking about the reality. He was thinking about the reality of his life, everyday life. Then he decided, okay, this is something I can do. You do the same. So what you learn from this statement is not only his initiation of the right practice, but possible preparation for the right practice. Preparation is very important. If you prepare good, then you can keep going. If you can keep going, you will achieve the final salvation. That is a promise of the Buddha. Thank you for listening. And again, if you have any question, please contact me. May the Buddha be with us all. Thank you.